Welcome guys to my creative corner. This is Claudette, where I create projects using stamps, inks, papers, mixed media, embellishment, and a whole lot of joy. So today I'll be putting together my October paper pumpkin together so I could start building on my Christmas card, so I'll be able to send them out in time. So if this is something you're interested in, please do stick around. If this is your first time joining me, please consider hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell icon so you can be notified when I upload my latest videos. So let's go ahead and get started. So with this kit, we got 8 card bases to make 8 cards. And I am just going to go through and create pretty much my own designs. Okay, so this is one of our card bases. They come pre-scored for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold this down the middle. And I am going to give that a nice crease there with my bone folder. So these are cards I'm going to create using everything that comes within the box, because the box is pretty much designed so you could create it just using, especially for beginner stampers or paper crafters, because your supplies are not that large. So it comes with everything you need to create what's inside the box. You have people that make alternate projects using other products and combine it. So this one I'm going to try to stick just basically to what comes within the box. So these are some die cut pieces that came with it. You have this piece of cardstock that's embossed, and this is our flag die cut. So your kit comes with little glue dots and some dimensionals. So I would say the things that you would need with this is some multi-purpose glue and your scissors. So I'm going to go ahead and take this tag and I am going to glue this down. You could use dimensionals with this, or I'm just going to use my multi-purpose glue, or you could use the little glue dot that comes with these. Just going to put that down to the middle of our cardstock. And you could shine these foil up if you choose to. Then I am going to come in with my white piece of embossed cardstock, and I am going to just put some multi-purpose glue with that and stick that down. And I am going to bring this flower die cut in, and I'm just going to pop that up with some dimensionals. Alright, so next I'm going to just get a sentiment and stamp something right there. Before you put your cardstock on, you could go ahead and stamp your sentiment on there. And this is the stamp set that it came with. And I'm going to go ahead and take the Merry Christmas and stamp that. And of course, if you guys have different color inks, you could use that. But I am going to use the ink color that came with it, which is just Jade. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get my Just Jade ink pad, the larger one, and I am going to ink up Merry Christmas. So like I say, you could stamp this before you glue down the white cardstock, because it has the bump and ridges on there, so it may not come out as smooth. So we're going to go ahead and just stamp Merry Christmas right here to the bottom. I have some areas that could have been better, but that's not bad. And we're going to go ahead and stamp the inside, and we're going to ink up the larger sentiment. Says, wishing you a very happy Christmas filled with fun and laughter. So we're going to try to get that in the center. All right, so that's our first card. So moving right along. All right, so we're going to bring in our card, our next card base. All right, so this is the leftovers from where the white tags were. So I'm going to go ahead and use this to design the outside of my card. So I'm just going to snip off the bottom portion of this. So I'm going to go ahead and take my multi-purpose glue and just glue that down to the outside of my card. Then I'm going to bring in one of my floral die cuts. And you could glue that down, or so I am going to pop that up with some dimensionals. I'm just going to put this in the corner right there. Then I'm going to bring in one of my gold foiled sentiment, and this one says joy. And I am going to add a little bit of glue to the back of this. I'm just going to add that right here. So I'm just going to add a little drip of glue here. I'm just going to use my pickup tool here, and so I just use my pickup tool here to add my little dot to my J. Okay, so now joy, and then we're going to add the sentiment in the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp the wreath to the inside of my card. And I'm going to stamp off on that. Let's line this up and see if we can try to correct that. It have like a double image, and I am just going to go ahead and take my sentiment and stamp to the world right below within that wreath. And this would look nice if you have an alternate color. So I was trying to stamp off so the wreath would be lighter. So when you're working with one color, you could stamp off to get a variation of tones. Okay, I'm going to add some of these little berries to the corner there to see if I could hide some of those mistakes. So I don't think that's bad. So we'll leave that as that. And then we'll move on to our next card. So we'll bring in our other card base. We had the larger labels that came in with this. So we're going to go ahead and add some multi-purpose glue to this. We're going to put it here in the center. I'm going to bring in the gold foil piece sentiment, and we're going to bring a flower in and put it there. Now we're going to pop this up with some dimensionals. Then we're going to put sentiment on this in the inside. So I'm just going to say peace to the world. And then we're going to move on to the next card. I'm going to bring in my mini trimmer, and I'm going to cut 1 1/4 inch off the bottom of the front of this card. All right, so on your wreaths, they come already pre-stamped. So what you could also do is just ink up your wreath with your color green if you choose, and you could restamp that to give it more of a vibrant green. And I'm just going to try to line up the inner circle part with the stamp and just go for it. Okay, so with this and that, so you get more of a vibrant green. Now, if you have a stamparatus, which it would be nice to make these cards so you could re-stamp. So a stamparatus is a stamping tool that helps you to stamp right in the same spot if you missed a spot. Being that we want to use everything that comes within the kit, we'll just continue with using our blocks. So what I'm going to do is stamp Merry Christmas just to the bottom here of this cardstock. And then when you're using your photopalmer stamps, which are these clear stamps, you want to use a foam pad underneath. That's going to help your images to come out a little bit more crisp and clear. Then we're going to add our wreath right there. So I'm just going to add a little bit of dimensionals to the top. And we're just going to add it to the top because the bottom there is going to be hanging off. Then I already created a bow. And then what you want to do is take one of your glue dots. I am going to use Save This Pack, and I'm going to use my glue dots that I have. So you really want to roll your glue dot up and just stick it to the back of your bow. Let's see, maybe I'll add it here to the middle. Yeah, that looks better there. Then that would be our other card. And you could trim these bows up if you like, but I like them there a little long. So what we're going to do is our next card, we're going to take the front of the card and we're going to fold this section up. So if you don't have a scoring tool, you're going to take a ruler. You're going to come in, measure an inch, and you're going to take your pencil and you're going to mark a little dot there where the inch go up. And you're going to make another dot and an inch. You're going to do that 3 times. Then bring your ruler, measure up your dots. You're going to take something blunt and you're just going to put your ruler there and you're going to make your crease there. All right. Or you could fold it freehand. I do have a scoring tool and I'm going to go ahead and score that. All right. So I think an inch or 2 inches is not what I want. So I am going to do it at 1.25 inches. I am going to go with 1.25 inches. Just in between the 2 inches and the 1 inch. And I am doing this by trial and error. Go ahead and burnish that. Okay, I think 1.25 inches would be just fine. Would be better there for what I want to do. So what I'm going to do is take my multi-purpose glue and I am just going to add a little bit of glue here along the edges, and we're just going to add glue to this edge right here as well as this right here, And then what we're gonna do is just glue those down. And I'm just trying to make a pocket for a gift card. So next what we're gonna do is bring another wreath in. I went ahead and stamped that already. I'm gonna add some dimensionals again to that. Okay, this time I'm just gonna bring in my rubber pad. I am going to stamp sending to the top. And then I'm going to add joy here down to the bottom. I'm just going to get it slanted so it could fit in that white area. If you guys are getting any creative value out of this video, please go ahead and smash the like button down below. So I'm going to stamp it about right there. I'll try to open up my card to do that. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add a bow to our wreath. Cut those tails. Then I'm going to take a glue dot. The glue dot that comes in a kit is a little smaller than these, it looks like. So I'm just going to roll that up and add my bow. Let's see. Where will this look the best? And then we'll just bring in our gift card, and you could add a gift card right in that spot right there. So that's another way that you could create your card. So our next card base, I am going to be working on the plain side, not the one with the shimmer on there. And I am going to take a little bit off of this side, about 1 1/4 inch off. And again, if you don't have a trimmer, you could use your ruler and use an X-Acto knife, or just with your scissors. All right, so let's see. What we're gonna do is pop this up again. We have the dimensionals, why not use them? And you just want that like halfway there. And you could always put your dimensionals on this if you want, instead of on the die cut. I'm gonna add that to that there. All right, so I'm gonna bring in my cushion pad. I'm gonna get my stitched label tag that they printed out for us that came within your kit. We're gonna ink the sentiment sending up, and we're gonna try to get that. I'm gonna bring it more to the edge, because I'm going to tuck it underneath that. Just going to add a little bit of glue on that. We're going to stick that there. So I'm going to add the sentiment joy down in this corner. And you could stamp your sentiment first and then put your flower on, so that won't be covering up your sentiment. And that's just simple. Send and joy. You write your little note within there. So we'll bring in our another base. They created a Facebook group where you could get pen pals. So I have 2 pen pals, one in French and one in German. So I'm going to make a French sentiment on there, and then I'm going to make the other one German, so I'll be able to send these my 2 pen pals a Christmas card. So if you didn't see my other videos on the Joy to the World Paper Pumpkin Kit, this is what it was all about, sending joy around the globe. All right, so the first one that I'm going to create is in German, and it's going to be saying joy, and not going to attempt to pronounce that, but we're going to create a card for my German pen pal. And this is a piece of cardstock that we cut off of the previous card that we created. And I am just going to put that down here in the middle. Then I am going to add some flowers to each end, and I'm going to pop those up with some dimensionals. And these are just alternate designs outside to the instructional designs that came with the card. So I hope you guys are enjoying getting some creative value from this tutorial. Just going to add this on a slant, and like I said earlier, you could put your sentiment down first and put your flowers on, so you don't really cover up your image and you have it exactly, or cover up your sentiment and you have it exactly where you want it. So we're going to just add little beads of glue so we could get this down. You could take, if you have a sponge with your glue, you could add your glue that way too as well, so you don't get any seepage. And I use the art glitter glue, and I prefer this glue because if it's leaks out, it's not sticky. And another suggestion, guys, the little dots for the eyes and the J's, you could also use those for as gems. And you could add a little bling to your card that way. So I'm just gonna take my glue, use my little jewel pickup tool, add a little dot of glue, and then you have yourself a little bit of bling. So I'm just gonna set that up aside. I am gonna bring in my trimmer, and I'm just going to cut a sliver of this gold foil to add to the inside of my card. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is add this piece right down here to the inside of our card. Just making sure those edges are together. And then the little piece that you have hanging off there, then I'm just gonna cut that piece down. All right, and in the inside, I am going to add the other French word. Since the stamp set itself is just in English, and I add joy to the inside for my German pen pal, and then I am going to add the other word for peace in the inside of the card. I'm going to go ahead and add that little dot for my eye. So our last card, I'm going to take this embossed cardstock that they provide for us, and I think I'm going to cut it down in like 1 1/4 inches. So we cut those up in 1 1/4 inches. I think I'll do like that. We're gonna add our wreath like this. I think this is what I'm thinking. Then I am gonna use the sentiment for my French pen pal. I'm gonna use peace on the outside and joy in the inside. And I am going to add a strip of twine just to the back of that. A little bit over 6.5 inches on the twine. Instructions come with how to do these designs here. And you have that measurements, that ruler right here, which is kind of neat. So these paper pumpkin, it comes out as a subscription. You get a surprise in the mail every month. And you can stop your subscription at any time. So I am going to go ahead and glue down the middle piece. And I am keeping the raised side up. All right, so what we're going to do is take one of our glue dots and we're going to take and add it to our twine, the tip of our twine. And we're going to add that one end. We want it to the center of this. We're going to add it to the back of that, like so. And then we're going to go ahead and add our multi-purpose glue to the back of this. And then we'll just go ahead and line that up. Try to get it, yeah, like these are all handmade. They don't have to be perfect. So I'm just going to try to make sure the spaces are even there. And then I'm just going to pull that a little snug and just trim this a little bit so it doesn't show. And just add my glue dot on this just to secure it down before I add my liquid glue. And we're just gonna line that up. And I'm gonna bring in one of the reeds. I stamped that as well and add a little vibrant green to that. So I'm gonna pop that up with some dimensionals. So now I'm just gonna add my sentiment there on top of the wreath. And then I'm just gonna make a bow and add a bow to the side. Let's trim that down. So we're gonna add a glue dot. Make that a little small. And then when you're fixing it, you could fix it whereas your string is a little higher so it doesn't shoot through your wreath. And I'm just gonna get the dot for my eye. Okay, you may not even see it now with all these cherries and stuff on the wreath. It may just look like another cherry, which I think it may. So I'm gonna add that right down here. Instead, a little bit of glue, add that there. All right, so for the inside of our card, the strip that we took off of our previous cardstock, I'm just going to add it to the bottom of this. And just make sure your edges are together evenly. And then we're going to go ahead and bring our sentiment in. And this one we're adding joy in French. Okay, so I'm going to get the dot for my J and I. Add a dab of glue there, a dab of glue there. And I'm going to take my jewelry picker and just add my dots. And then you could polish your foils before you send your cards out. And they also provide the envelopes, and these are beautiful envelopes. All right, so let's go through the cards that we created. So the first time we created, we stamped on this, and it didn't come out as crisp. It had some white areas. So if you have a marker, and this is our stamp right markers, and they're the same type ink as your ink pad, so you could go ahead and take a green, and I don't have the just Jade green, but I have different types green, and you could fill that in with a green if you choose, but I'm going to leave it as is. And also when you stamping with your photopolymer stamps, you want to go ahead and stamp with your matte underneath. That's going to give you a crisper image. Again, these are handmade cards. They are not going to be perfect. And this was the inside of our card. Then this was the one where I took the little border that the labels came in, and we made this card. And the inside I stamped the wreath. It didn't come out as nice and neat as I would like, but I think it would work. You could also cover that up if you would choose to, because I have several pieces of cardstocks left over from the white embossed pieces. I have several of those left over. I could fill that in if I choose, but I'm going to leave it just like that. And this was the other card that we created. This one we cut off, I think it was 1.25 inches off of this. We add the Merry Christmas, so you have that sentiment for the outside, and as you open it is pretty much for the inside as well. Then on this, we created a area where you could add a gift card to. And these are just ideas and creating your cards in different way. We took a 1.25 inches off of this, Sending Joy. And we took the embossed pieces that they gave us, we cut those down. Also with the eye, the little dot, you could use those as embellishments. And this one here is for my French pen pal that I'm going to send out. The piece of cardstock that we cut off of one of our base of a card, I went ahead and add that to the inside of this, so we pretty much didn't waste any. And with this, for my German friend, I made this, and the piece of card base that we cut off, we added to this on the outside just to break this design up a little bit. And we cut off a piece of gold foil from the excess foil from the foil sentiments, and we added here to the bottom of our card. Get out there and be creative. I'm going to leave the link down below. If you're interested in getting the Paper Pumpkin subscription, these are excellent, especially for you first-time paper crafters or stampers. Thank you guys for tuning into my Creative Corner. This is Claudette, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.